Today's going to be insane. We've got all kinds of things. We've got hardware coming out of our... Is that bad to do to your audience?
That's kind of trollish.
Is that bad? How many of you moved the timeline? How many of you refreshed the page?
What probably gave it away are the people that are watching at 1080p and it was just too crisp.
Yeah, well, also they noticed that the timeline is still moving slightly. Like, what? But it's buffering, but the timeline... I'm sorry, everybody. I couldn't help it.
They're wily and quick to anger.
I thought that was me. Let's talk about what's going on in the world. Now, we do have some game sales going on, so check out the game sales. Always check out the game sales. I got Mortal Kombat today for like $11, and I'm still trying to figure out if it sucks or not. $13. I don't know what I paid for it, but anyway, there's a link right here on the screen. The screen, I was going to say the description, but it's on the screen, so it's in the screen.
It's in the description, too.
Yeah, it's in
show notes, anyway.
Yeah, just wherever you want to go, guys. Oh, we got new T-shirts. And Finally. They are like 1 million thread count. They are so... Not this T-shirt. We got new logo T-shirts for all you guys out there who have been waiting for a large or an extra large or a medium or whatever size you want. We have them. If you already have a T-shirt, I would probably buy like 2 or 3 because these things are so much higher quality. I told them, like, spare no expense, keep the same price. It's coming out of my pocket. They're way higher quality T-shirts.
Everybody buy at least 5.
That way, in case you lose 4... you'll still be good.
If all the viewers buy at least 5, we'll be able to eat next month.
We also got them in charcoal. So now if you're someone who doesn't like black, what color do you want? You don't have any shirts yet.
Black.
You want black or do you want charcoal?
Black.
Black? All right, we'll get you a black shirt. Wendell doesn't have a shirt yet. I've just been like running around here with my shirts. We haven't had any inventory to order anymore. So finally, we'll have some new designs coming maybe soon too. Working on it. All right, Bitcoin has been declared a currency, as in, well, let me scroll up and read the article here. A Texas judge, he's a federal judge, has decided that Bitcoin is in fact a currency and should be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Regulated?
Regulated, yes. What do you think the implications are?
Well, they wanted a ruling of that this is a currency because this guy was running a Ponzi scheme. And he was saying, oh, it's not a Ponzi scheme because currency's not involved. And so the judge looked at it and said, well, for the purposes of this, it does look like a currency. So that's interesting, but I think that it's going to make it more difficult for other federal cases to say that Bitcoin is this or Bitcoin is that or Bitcoin is this other. But it's also going to make things interesting for people that run other Bitcoin services because now they're going to want to regulate those services like a bank.
If you conduct a transaction, I mean, shouldn't you have to pay tax? Isn't that the way things work in the world? If you are trading, you should pay tax.
Well, the existing tax law covers that case as long as you get value. It's just like if we barter, even though, if we're bartering in yak's heads or whatever, technically we're supposed to pay tax on the value of that transaction. So nothing's changed there.
Now, the problem is that it's a cryptocurrency and there's no bank involved. I'm not sure if a lot of people are afraid that this is going to be, they're going to say that they need to regulate it and therefore they're going to control it. Now, regulation and control are two different things. I'm not sure if they'll ever be able to have full control over it because it's a cryptocurrency. And it's different than the way a dollar works. There's a guy here in the comments on this TechCrunch article you guys should read. It's just a really interesting comment because he goes in and breaks down what exactly a currency is or what exactly money is. His name's Todd B. Marshall, so dude on TechCrunch, really interesting. Check it out. If you have no idea what money is, it will really help you understand that money is just a promise between two people to trade. And then he goes on to talk about how the government, they release all these promissory notes and they never pay them back. And so we end up with a default. That's too much for most people, right?
Stop making them think.
Just go read that if you're interested. Amazon's now selling artwork. We're talking like... we're not talking like cheesy Kmart artwork or whatever. We're not talking like, your dog is running on the beach and then you've got the clouds and the cheesy waves and a dolphin jumping. Not that kind of stuff. They're selling like actual artwork, and some of it's very expensive, like $3,000 and $4,000. I'm not sure what this is going to do for the art industry. Perhaps make it more accessible. It may make competition and bring the prices down, but I don't know. Abstract art has always been kind of expensive based upon the fact that people don't understand it. And I think one of the things that happens with abstract art is people look at it and they're like, I have no idea what that is, but I better pay top dollar for it in case my friends think that I have a lack of vision. So they mistake lack of creativity for a creative genius and then pay a lot of money. I think that's the whole scam with the abstract art industry. And so I do not think personally that this will bring the value of some abstract art down, because there'll always be people trying to one-up each other when they buy art.
I think that Amazon is really, it's just so hard for me to think of Amazon as the upscale Etsy.
I wouldn't call it upscale, but I love the fact that Etsy is all about people that make stuff with their own freaking hands instead of people who, I guess some people on there do mass-produce things on a small scale, but it's about, you know, getting something that was handmade with care and all that kind of stuff. So that makes me happy in a very hippie way.
The other thing that I hope happens is that I'm hoping the Amazon Marketplace opens up art for more people to enjoy it, because art, for me, good art is about community. And I fear that the way that this Amazon thing is going to be like, oh, you know, have you got the latest artist du jour? Oh, you know, that's going to be $10,000. Because I've actually found some really awesome...
You're going to generate new art hipsters based upon this?
Yeah, and that's really not the way to go. There are some really awesome art projects out there that are accessible, and real sort of starving artists that make really interesting things. Like, I was looking for a present for a friend, and I found this Jaws ship in a bottle thing. And that's the kind of stuff that needs to be on Amazon, because that is awesome. You can email her, and she'll make you a scene from any movie in a bottle, which is awesome.
That's a lot of hard work, too. You know, something that I'm going to say about this, I know we're not like art critics or anything over here, and we're getting off on some ridiculous tangents, but we do all talk about geek culture a lot, and I think this is something that our audience should enjoy, hopefully. But I'm thinking that maybe this will raise awareness for art in general, and I really hope it doesn't replace the galleries, but I don't think it will. I think we'll see more people that normally wouldn't go into a gallery, perhaps going into a gallery and goofing off, maybe going on a, you know, like a gallery night where they serve the wine and just hanging out, maybe talk snobby, I don't know, just sit around, oh, look at the chiaroscuro shading on this one, and yes, I like what the statement they're making. Don't do that. But if you want, I mean, whatever.
Okay, how ridiculous is it? I mean, you know, we as nerds, how ridiculous is it that you go in somebody's house and their entire house is decorated with Target and IKEA? How much cooler would it be to have the Jaws ship in a bottle?
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
I can't stand just blank walls. It's a weird thing, but blank walls are very depressing to me. It's almost as depressing as like being in jail.
It's like the Fight Club scene where they're going through the IKEA furniture and it's just doing all the stuff, and it's like my individualized flat pack furniture, and that's how it is. And I'm hoping that this will lead to a revolution of that, because once you have this sort of eclectic collection of stuff that has special meaning to you, and it's not just random crap from Walmart, it's really it's a very liberating thing.
Yeah, it can change the way you think. Like, I really do believe that what you surround yourself by can influence your work habits, the way you think, the way you move, just everything.
It really does.
All right, we got off on something ridiculous there. Let's get back into like technology stuff. So Bloomberg has pitched $80,000 to the Ubuntu Edge, the smartphone coming out with 128 gigabytes of memory and 4 gigabytes of RAM. The thing's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a desktop and a phone all in one. Bloomberg, the first major corporate backer, and also we've had T-Mobile come out. They want to carry the phone, so this could be pretty cool. I'm kind of wanting one of these now. They've also brought the price down to, I believe it's $695. So anybody can get one for $695.
I like the idea, but I think a lot of the corporate interest here is a red herring. And the reason for it is that Google is locking down Android so that they can get more control of the platform. I mean, Apple, if you look at the iOS statistics, you know, version 6 is deployed on 95% of Apple devices out there, and 95% of Android devices are running 4 different versions of Android. And so Google's working on fixing that, but they're also tightening their control. And so this Ubuntu phone is like, oh, it's free reign again. And so I think a lot of companies that are investing are going to do bad things to the platform.
I'm not sure what Bloomberg's going to do, because they're not really in that field, but I hope T-Mobile, I mean, they've been more progressive in the last couple of years than any other company, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that they're going to be pretty relaxed and groovy about this and let Google do their thing with the Android portion of the phone.
T-Mobile's financials also came out today, and they are rocking a ton of new subscribers.
Really?
They are taking subscribers left and right from AT&T and Verizon.
Wow, I mean, all they had to do is just throw their CEO on stage in a T-shirt and have him say some relaxed and groovy things, and all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, This guy's not a dictator.
Their last commercial was like,
Not a
you want to
dictator.
buy a new phone? Buy a new phone. We don't care. We're not going to penalize you. We're not going to charge you $700 for a $200 device.
That's pretty groovy.
Yeah, it is pretty groovy.
I left them several years ago because their customer service was awful. Maybe they fixed that. I'll call them up again and see.
They don't like when you're a victim of SIM cloning. It's like, I'm going to go to the hacker conference. Somebody cloned my SIM. They don't understand that.
Well, my problem was that I couldn't speak English on the phone with them because I had to speak Ebonics. Whenever I called T-Mobile, I was like, let me brush up. Let me get my translator out here. James Dolan, that's the CEO of Cablevision. He sat down and talked to the Wall Street Journal. And it's interesting because he's a CEO of a cable company, and he admitted that he doesn't really watch TV, and his kids, they have Netflix habits. So TV is not really a thing in their house. And he's a CEO of a cable company. And one of the really interesting things that he said, you guys should go check out the Wall Street Journal article here. I'll bring it up on the screen. He said that the rest of the cable companies are living in a bubble, and he's even considering in the future just offering internet and not offering TV. This guy gets it.
He does get it.
There's a CEO that gets it out there. I'm wondering how many other CEOs out there, because they're always in their office and they're always on their computer, I'm wondering how many of them, stream video through different news sources on their websites instead of TV. I'm wondering how many of those executives also use Netflix and services like that, because you'll see that. You'll see a lot of it. At least I have, from being in the industry, you'll see a lot of executives get up on the platform and say things that are good for their company, but when they go and in practice and on their own time, they do whatever's most convenient and most comfortable, which a lot of times is using competitive products. I've seen so many high-level people at different companies. When you walk in, you're just hanging out with them, and you're like, dude, don't you work for Apple? Why are you using a Samsung phone? I've seen that. So yeah, well, it's just I like when I'm away from work. I like to just use this. I'm like, no, shut up. You use it because it works better. It's really cool that we have a CEO of a cable company saying stuff like this. That's what we need, more of that. Hand of Thief. How about a virus for Linux? Linux never gets enough viruses. They're just like all sitting over there like, we want some viruses too. Well, these guys here at Hand of Linux said, well, we can make a virus, and wait a minute. People need Linux viruses because, Windows is whatever.
Some mysterious black hat is selling this thing on the black market, basically.
Selling a virus. It's a Trojan designed to infiltrate Linux networks because what are you going to do if you infiltrate Windows? You may steal some information, but Linux is the backbone of the universe. T-shirt idea. If you can get into Linux systems, you can get into banks and ATMs and corporate infrastructure systems and that sort of thing. And that's what this is designed to do. So you can download the kit and modify it and then deploy it and possibly get information back from banks or all the things I just mentioned.
Kind of interesting that the developer also wrote a web admin control panel.
Who are these guys?
I'm getting a picture of like Vinny in New York City. It's like, I got this thing, and I don't know. I'm filling out the web form, and it's just
You're calling up customer support. Hey, bada bing, I need some money. I push 3 buttons. I don't know what it's doing. It's just a spinning circle right now.
I can't get it to connect to my reverse proxy anymore.
What?
I don't know. It's just terrible. I don't see this as too much of a threat, but it would be interesting to know what specific exploits that they're using to get in there. If it's just weak passwords, or if they're targeting like an ATM operating system that runs Linux, or what.
Opinion piece, Apple becoming a follower, not a leader. We've been saying that for a long time. I don't think we need to go into that, do we?
No, we knew. Well, in terms of phone shipments this quarter, it was like 78% Android and 17% Apple.
Well, this is a
72%.
Yeah, this is global market share. Now Android 79.3%, iOS is 13.2%.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's in that's the second quarter of
2013.
2013. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk quickly about Tor. Remember our security video from way back when, and I forgot what the name of the video was, like the trouble with Tor, right?
Yeah. We called it.
All these people, if they had seen our video, they wouldn't be in trouble right now. Now, I will say that it is good that they have captured this dude. Is a 28-year-old dude who is like one of the biggest guys in the world for the distribution of child porn. They caught that guy. He was using the Tor network like an idiot. Well, he was an idiot. It doesn't matter what he used. He was still an idiot. But they've got so much information on a lot of people, and it also turns out that about half of the exit nodes were FBI or government
Otherwise run by the feds, the U.S. government authorities.
We've been saying this for a long time, guys. It's a point of weakness. And another big point of weakness is JavaScript. And then, I've seen some of the comments of people like, well, everybody that uses Tor knows better than to use, a browser, or knows better than to use Windows, and knows better than to use a browser with JavaScript enabled. And like, no, not everybody does, obviously. But I don't use Tor because I don't think I'm doing anything that's going to require me to use Tor. But I don't know.
They did, the more disturbing thing there was that apparently Tor Mail was compromised. And so if you were using Tor Mail for secure email, which there were a lot of, non-criminal people doing that system was completely compromised. And so now the problem is you have people like these high-ranking Department of Defense officials saying that if you don't agree with U.S. foreign policy, you might be a terrorist. And it's like, at what point does dissent become terrorism? That's a ridiculous claim to make. I mean, come on.
Where's that article? It's we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that one in a second. Here it is. There's the guy. If you don't agree with us, you're a terrorist.
Yeah, really.
It's hilarious.
It's like,
in a very sad kind of way.
That's totally not, what they were saying that Soviet Russia was doing in the 80s and how we shouldn't be like Soviet Russia.
Now, Schneer chimed in on this. About a month ago, he wrote an article, and he said one of the problems with all this NSA data collection is the fact that, some of the different organizations in the future may decide to start using that data. Like the DEA, for instance. He doesn't specifically mention that a month ago, but he said this a month ago, and then all of a sudden, here's Schneer again saying, guys, I wrote this, potential worst-case scenario like a month ago, and here it is 30 days later, like, oh my God, it's like exactly what I said. So... remember what we said last month?
Yeah.
With Schneer?
Yeah.
Whenever he says anything, you shut up and listen.
Yes. Bruce Schneer is a very well-respected expert in the computer security field. He's a very smart man.
And here we have all these reports now that the DEA has been using NSA data to catch criminals. And a lot of times they're like, where did you get this data? Oh, we just found it, or we looked at his Facebook page.
We got an anonymous tip to pull this random sedan over during a busy freeway in L.A.
An anonymous tip.
Now, we did have 3 squad cars, pass up some people. There was a car on fire back there, but we didn't stop. We needed to randomly select this blue sedan. You
know what I think the next step is? It's all going to be religion, because everything's getting so crazy, and people aren't really speaking up as much as I thought they would, like they are in Germany right now, that no one in America is really talking about. But I think that it's going to get to a point where they just blame everything on religion. Like, hey, we prayed about this, and we caught the guy. That's Jesus told us while we were driving to pull this guy over, and you cannot argue with that, because it's some kind of a strange taboo in America. You're not allowed to argue against religion at all. If you do, you're like, oh my God, what an awful person! You can't argue against Jesus. If I invoke Jesus, then therefore you cannot say anything. I'm not saying anything good or bad for religion. I'm just saying that's how ridiculous it is.
Some NSA analyst watching the show just took notes and said, like, the name of their massive spy program is going to be the acronym Jesus.
Jesus.
It's amazing that all the branches of government are colluding to take people's rights away. It's kind of crazy.
So the DA's using the NSA data. But what about the IRS? They were feeling a little bit left out. And they're like, hey, you guys got all this juicy stuff. It's like, it's becoming, okay, all this nonsense is becoming like a barbershop. It's like, hey, let's all go down to the barbershop and share information. And like, oh my God, did you see what Jim Do said? Jim Do?
Jim Do.
That's a new name, Jim Do.
It's not even anything that we covered on this show, but, the IRS has been caught red-handed abusing its power for people that it doesn't politically agree with. And so now it has access to this, NSA data.
Treasure trove of data. It's like a box of Legos. You can build whatever you want out of it.
This is exactly the kind of thing, with free speech, a certain amount of anonymity is expected to avoid persecution for making your public speech known. And if you can't have anonymous speech anymore, then you can be targeted and persecuted. And that is, they call it a chilling effect sometime. And we need to avoid that.
Speaking of chilling, LavaBit.
Oh yeah,
down.
LavaBit. LavaBit was this really high security email service that Edward Snowden was rumored to use.
This letter here is chilling. It's from the owner and operator of LavaBit LLC. I have decided to suspend operations. I wish that I could legally share with you the events that led to my decision. I cannot. I feel you deserve to know what's going on. The First Amendment is supposed to guarantee me the freedom to speak out in situations like this. Unfortunately, Congress has passed laws that say otherwise. As things currently stand, I cannot share my experiences over the last 6 weeks, even though I have twice made the appropriate requests.
This experience has taught me one very important lesson. Without congressional action or a strong judicial precedent, I would strongly recommend against anyone trusting their private data to a company with physical ties to the United States.
He's going to get in big trouble for saying that, just as it is.
Likely.
Yeah. Kind of chilling. Here's the dude you were just talking about, Michael Hayden. And he is saying that if you like Snowden, you're a terrorist. If you disagree with old, bald-headed white dudes.
Yeah, you might be a terrorist for old white dudes. Yeah, it's like, I'm an old white dude. I'm terrified of what they're doing.
Why are you so freaking scared? You're rich. You're old. You're white. You got it made.
These people are getting a clue. We need to dismantle the education system and keep them dumb so that I can stay in power.
You're old. You're white. You're rich. Shut the fuck up.
I'm kind of surprised that the GOP is not coming out with like the lava bit thing and being like, business first. You know, this is the case of business interfering with private government and private enterprise. You know, where's the GOP now?
I was kind of wondering why things aren't getting a bit crazy in this country. I kind of expected people to go march on Washington or do something, because everyone seems to be a bit lazy or just like whatever. Or whenever you bring it up in conversation, they're like, I don't care, whatever. In Germany, they are marching. They're wearing Edward Snowden masks, and they're really upset because they've discovered that a lot of information has been shared. A lot of German information has been shared with the NSA, and they're freaking out over there. I mean, there's like kids in streets. Frankfurt is a mob scene right now. In fact, I've got some video here I downloaded. So look at all these people. This is in Germany.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I mean, it's like
they're upset that their government is sharing data with the NSA.
Yeah, well, look at the.
Wait, none of those are American citizens. They're fair game. They're not people. What are you talking about?
Look at all these terrorists. Okay, I'm on CNN's website right now. You want to play a little game? Want to see if they're talking about what's going on over there right now?
Yeah, let's look at what's going on CNN.
All right, let's see here. Kidnapping, Canadian thing. Anderson Cooper running around. North Korean nuke site expansion scare the fuck out of you. Let's see here.
Sharknado sequel title revealed.
Oh, great.
Sharknado, yeah.
There's a sequel to Sharknado coming out?
There's apparently going to be a sequel to Sharknado, and they've got the title and they've released it because that's important.
I'm very upset that I live in a world where Sharknado 1 can come out, let alone Sharknado 2.
Well, okay, that's not even fair.
Control F. I'm going to type Germany, all right?
I'm going to go to entertainment. I was on entertainment. Let's go to politics.
Why don't you go to international? You're not going to find anything in politics.
Okay, yeah, that's more fair. Let's go to international. Maybe we're not in the right place.
Yeah. World, there we go. It's called World. All right, World. Now, here's the World page, all right. Cyberbullying, suicide. Kangaroo saved me. Kangaroo saved me. Right here on the front page.
Drone kills suspected Al-Qaeda militants. Same headline since,
The North Korea I wasn't meant to see. They're all like, they're big on North Korea. They got a hard on for North Korea right now. All right, let's do a search for Germany.
14 die when bomb explodes near Afghan grave. Bomb kills 30 at Pakistani official's funeral.
All right, I just did a search for Germany. I got 0 results. CNN's gone. I also did a similar thing with Reuters. I had to go to Spiegel to get my information. I had to go to freaking Spiegel. They are going crazy on Spiegel.de about what's going on with the NSA. They're really upset.
Top story in Asia, a plane hits cow on runway.
There's Angela Merkel. They're upset about what's going on. And yeah.
Well, just what is happening? I don't understand.
I don't know. And I think it's kind of funny because a lot of the old rich white dudes that want to control all the information, they need nerds and they need hackers with the information. They need them. They need to employ them. And what's been happening at like the latest, nerd conventions, like DEF CON's going on, and most nerds, when you ask them a question,
there may be a nerd, there may be a nerd revolt uprising happening in the background. That's what we hope.
So most hackers, when asked, "Hey, would you work for the NSA?" their response is hell no. But the NSA wants to hire these terrorists. Never mind.
Well, the NSA goes to these hacker conventions and recruits hackers, and they've been able to hire hackers successfully because, they're fighting the good fight. But these hackers have built these machines that are capable of being misused, and we see now that they are being misused, and they know that they're being misused, and they're reconsidering their invention.
We talked about doing 2 different tech shows a week. Would you guys rather have one show where we talk about, just fun nerd stuff like hardware in video games, and then a second show where we talk about the state of things as far as NSA,
Tech, culture, and policy.
Yeah, tech, culture, and policy, and then the other one will be like just hardware and gaming. Would that be easier for some of you guys to digest? I know some people don't want to watch all the NSA stuff. They don't care. They want to live in the bubble. They want to play their video games, and they don't want to be bothered. They don't really share anything on the internet other than a muffin recipe that could be stolen. My
point of view is that, like Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. It's like we have the intellectual.
Spider-Man, isn't that quite a bit before Spider-Man? That quote.
Yeah, that was before Spider-Man, but yeah.
Well, it's probably Mark Twain or Einstein or.
But with great power does come great responsibility, and with great intellectual capability comes great intellectual responsibility. We have the intellectual capacity to understand and ferret out the truth here and cut through the subterfuge and cut through politician BS and all that. So why don't we? It's our moral imperative to sort out the mess and fix it. But that's just one man's opinion.
Resistive RAM. 1 terabyte on a tiny chip. We're talking like extremely tiny. This looks really cool. It's going to be the future. It's going to replace pretty much NAND.
If we believe the breakthrough, this could be an amazing breakthrough. We could have 256 gigabytes in a phone in an area the size of a postage stamp.
And it's going to be way faster. I mean, we're talking like, I thought it was like 10 to 20 times faster, but I can't see the actual number on here.
It's fast enough that conceivably we might see computers where there's no distinction between RAM and disk space.
Like we've got super fast processing on the graphics card. We've got really fast CPUs. The RAM's getting pretty fast, but then the hard drive. That's the biggest bottleneck, in my opinion, on the computer.
I see
loading times.
I see latency as a big bottleneck because when you get right down to it,
moving from one place to another.
Yeah, when you get right down to it, memory latencies really haven't improved that much.
So Seagate, their hybrid drives for their laptops, they're going to be putting 8 gigs of NAND flash on them, and that's it. And this is, they're saying this because most business users don't need more than 8, so they're going to keep the price low, put 8 gigs on there, and be done with it.
And they're going to do away with the 7200 RPM high-performance laptop drives.
I want to see more solid-state drives from Seagate and Toshiba.
Yeah.
Those companies need to get with the program a little bit more. I know there's some stuff kind of rolling out slowly, but you can do both, guys. Come on, it's cool. Give us some SSDs. Give us some more competition. Probably skip this article.
What is it?
IBM scientists show blueprints for brain-like computing.
Yeah, they did a firmware upgrade on this now. They've actually got like 2nd generation software for their brain simulator, which means that they may actually be onto something. Like 4th or 5th generation brain simulator with that kind of software, they may actually be able to, produce a consciousness.
Maybe that'll happen around 2026?
The day that Skynet went online.
I have to call Kurzweil and see what day he predicts.
If Kurzweil can download his brain into a computer, he's going to be the first one to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And he literally is going to be Google. I am Google.
Ghost in the Shell. It's going to be Kurzweil.
Or the NSA is going to come appropriate him, and then he's going to be that new program called Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus said we needed to arrest you. He didn't say why.
It's going to be a very scary thing when Jesus gets into your machine. Oh man, I think Jesus is spying on my machine. Jesus, get out of here. South Korea has opened the first road that wirelessly recharges buses as they drive upon them. And this technology can work for cars as well. And then the way it's going to work is as a car goes by, it'll be there's magnets underneath. There's like a magnetic field, and that will help to generate the charge. It's safe. They say it's safe as far as your health goes. And
it's a big version of the inductive power mats.
Yeah, as you drive around, you just suck up the power, charges quickly, and you just pay for whatever power you suck up.
There you go. But there have been some breakthroughs in inductive charging. Apparently, somebody figured out a way to do something like inductive charging, but the proximity can be much larger. And so they demoed this living room that had lamps and stuff that were powered with this wireless technology, and it's based on something kind of similar to something Tesla was doing, but it works at a distance. And
see, you mean to tell me that all these magical things, there's magic electricity floating around, and it's not hurting me?
Yeah, it's,
like I'm not going to be fried by walking into the room?
It's only going to be a little bit of cancer.
I don't know. I saw a video online where this elephant just got fried. Oh, that was Edison.
Yeah, that was Edison.
Let's talk about video games. John Carmack has joined the Oculus team as the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. What do you think this means for the Oculus Rift?
I think it means that he sees big things in the Oculus, because he wouldn't put his weight behind something that's, trivial.
It's almost time for me to endorse this product, because I've always been so skeptical and so behind when it comes to anything virtual. I mean, even the video of the old woman having her moment of euphoria when she was like, oh my God, everything's so real, this is amazing. Even that video didn't sell me. And it sold a lot of people. It was moving. It was touching. But now that he's involved, whatever he touches, I really stop and look at it. Him, Bruce Schneer, a few other guys, whatever they do, you just stop and look at it. Gabe Newell, Wozniak. Should give you guys a list of people to watch.
In a roll call of smart guys, and this didn't even make the tech, but I'll mention it. The Bill Gates was asked to comment on Google's plan to roll out broadband across Africa with balloons, and he's like,
it won't cure malaria.
Yeah, Bill Gates is like, it's not going to cure malaria. It's like, wow.
Assassin's Creed 4 is supposed to be a ginormous open type world. It'll take you 30 minutes to sail across it. That's pretty good in real time in a game. 30 minutes to sail across the world. I'm kind of curious about that game. I always feel like the other Assassin's Creed games, I only played part 1 and 2, so don't yell at me for not playing the other ones. I felt like they were a bit too walled off and linear, even though you could kind of run around if you didn't do certain things. I got stuck in one of the games, and I was like, I can't go any farther because I can run around, but I can't progress in the story. So it would be really cool if the game was open. I love open games. Morrowind back in the day. You ever play Daggerfall?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of hours.
Yeah.
Daggerfall and Arena, all those games.
Daggerfall was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I played that to death. Arma 3's release date has been announced. It's on September 12th. That's when it leaves beta.
It almost has a playable version of the DayZ mod.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That'll be out soon.
It's almost playable. Not quite.
Last article. NVIDIA. They're making the Shield software open source. They probably saw Linus's video and they're like, oh, we can do better. We'll just make this one open source. One
thing that makes me skeptical about this NVIDIA thing is that historically, when they've done open source stuff on Linux, it's been terrible. Like so terrible that Linus cussed them out several times, and most recently at the University of somewhere and
the University of somewhere on 7th Avenue and
there's a
Tri-State
YouTube
area,
video.
Street.
We talked about it. I don't know, but and so open source might mean we're going to open up the parts that you would need if you're a developer, but you can't see the driver or work on other interesting things or blah blah blah. And I hope that that's not the case. I hope that they learned the lesson from working on other Linux things with their drivers and their video. But I fear that they may not have learned that lesson.
Yeah, they tend to keep things a bit too locked down, even for open source.
Yeah, it's open source in the sense that, hey, why doesn't everybody volunteer and write some stuff for us, and then we'll have all this work done for us for free? And it's like, that's not how open source works, NVIDIA.
Like, wait a minute. We can do internship programs throughout the internet and call it open source.
It's open source in that it's a little bit open and a little bit more slave labor.
We're going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the reality on Linux. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
If we get in trouble for that, compared to everything else we've been saying, then I don't even know. I need to take a nap.
It's not nap time. We've got more videos to shoot.
I'm going to take a nap right now.
All right, you go to sleep on the desk. And
I'll be sleeping. We'll just hear the talking. And
I'm going to get my reaching stick from back here.
You still make reaching sticks?
I'm sure that I can get one.
That's what we have pagers for. All right, subscribe. It's over there. Bye.